Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thursday night, 7:15 PST, on the Gratitude and Appreciation Summit, and it is Thankful Thursday Reflections. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Karen.
Hi,
Hello.
Jeanette. Good to see you tonight. Good to see you tonight. Welcome, Karen, for coming on tonight. Some of you might recognize Karen as one of our guest speakers from our Gratitude Appreciation Summit, and she also did a wonderful Indigenous prayer welcome in our first one too. So
Yes.
we're thrilled to have you here tonight. So Jeanette, what have you been up to? I hear you've had a little trouble with your foot.
Yes, and there's a bit of a metaphor, Kathy, for it. Is I purchased this rolling rack at a discount store thinking I needed to create a new backdrop because people say your backdrop is too busy. And it's like, created it and then didn't need it. So I tucked it away in my hallway. And, nature called, went that way. And I tripped on it going into the bathroom. So the moral of the story is know the obstacles that you put in your own way in life. And so that's the metaphor. And did I really need to change up my background for the last 2.5 years? This is what it's been. But I am taking care, and I wish to say thank you to my friends, family, associates, and even on some of the Gratitude and Appreciation, our private Facebook page, our group said some get well wishes. So I am speedy recovery. I am speedy recovery. And I'm going to say that Karen is a friends of the Gratitude and Appreciation Summit. We should have started a friends club too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And one of my best friends in the whole wide world.
There you go. There you go. Well, Karen, I'm so thrilled that you're on tonight. I had the privilege of spending a couple of days in an Indigenous music conference being held by University of Victoria, and they had the Chancellor of UBC there as well. And it was mind-boggling. There were people from Ontario, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Alberta, and BC, and people were online and in person. Mm-hmm. And it impacted me in a profound way, to the point where if we just all got along and we were all kind and stopped to listen to what our hearts are saying and allow people to speak, take our time to allow people to speak, because that was a huge thing that I witnessed at the conference. It's something that you are very aware of, and the teachings from your people. Now we're teaching others, and me being an educator, we have to teach our students now. It's part of our curriculum, which is why the conference. So like, we're learning language from the different nations. Mm-hmm. We're learning tradition from different nations. And where I seat with the Quequitlam, there's only 150 of them here in my community, and they're going back and having to find out and learn their traditions because it's been lost through the transitions of history, right? So, but what came forward from all of this, one special moment was when a young boy who was in a drumming performing group, I think they're based on the island, he lost a piece of his regalia. And I thought they said that it was stolen out in the hallway, but it turns out that it had fallen off, and that was his spirit. And they stopped the whole conference and did a blanket. I don't think it's called this, but a blanket ceremony, wrapped him up in a blanket to protect him and his spirit, and explained to the audience how this all works. So I was just so grateful for that. And I know that your history up in Alaska has been entirely different, but you have really good grassroots with who you are as an Indigenous person. And I just wish people were grateful and were kind to one another, and how this world would be such a much nicer place if we could just embrace that on a ground level in our heart.
Yeah, exactly. I know my kids, when they talk to their friends or they get to meet me and they have friends over, they always say, your mom's so nice. She doesn't yell. She doesn't scream at people, and they say she's fun to be around. And I told my kids I grew up with a mom that was fun to be around,
Mm.
and I wanted to emulate that. Any of their friends are welcome in our house. And I love the fact they always come with questions, because I have a lot of drums, I have a lot of artwork, I have regalia, I have things displayed throughout my home. And the reason why it's displayed is I do want to kind of bring up the questions. And
Oh,
I've
good.
I've told other Indigenous people this too, that if a non-native comes up to you and starts asking you questions, don't get offended, don't get mad. I said, be happy that they're asking, because they want to learn. And it's
Hmm.
our job to give them the information and
Hmm.
educate them, so that the next time they're at something similar, they'll understand why we're doing the things that we do.
Well, and that's so key to this whole truth and reconciliation. And I think there's a misunderstanding out there in the general public as to what that truly means. And I've had a pretty good idea, but I was set completely straight on Monday and Tuesday. And that was just to a small group of people. So how do we get the message out to people to be open-minded enough to truly understand the gratitude and gratefulness of the history and knowledge that the Indigenous bring to our land, to our people, to everything around us?
I think if Indigenous people willingly give up the information of what we're doing and why we do it. I mean, I explained when you were telling me about the regalia, I mentioned to you that we do the same thing at potlatches. Should a feather fall and touch the floor,
Mhm.
that we stop everything we're doing, and then we have to have a shaman or a peace, what would you call it, an elder,
Mm.
a high up elder, to come out, and we and bless whatever has fallen. Usually we do this with feathers, a lot of times eagle feathers.
Mhm.
And it's a whole process of making sure that that feather is still sacred
Mhm.
before it's used again
Mhm.
by the person that dropped it. And this was something that I grew up with. Um, I was in a dance group at the age of 9, and it was with the Johnson O'Malley program to bring back our tradition. And I
Mhm.
did that till I was 18, and it was the Gitlalakshta dance group. And from that, they started an adult dance group, which was the fourth generation dance group my mom was in charge of.
Wow.
And they performed everywhere. Then, lo and behold, I go to university, and the person that started the adult group in Alaska had moved to Seattle, and he started the Simsian Hayuk group, which I joined 2 years after it had been started. And then from there, he went to a more professional group called the Get Home that I was also a part of, and they did more
Mm.
worldwide travel. So in this process, you learn how to do your regalia, you learn how to sew. I made all of my older kids regalia when they were little, because they were also dancing and drumming
Mm.
and teaching them the songs. And I realized after moving to Canada, I've never really taught my younger 4 kids the
Ah.
songs until we brought up the drums and we started singing. And they're all just entranced listening, and some of them want to learn the songs. And my oldest son, who's still with me, the 20-year-old, was just an infant when he was in the dance group. I was literally had him attached to my front, carrying him around when I danced. So he doesn't remember a lot of that before our move, because he had just turned 5 when we moved to Canada. So my older kids have a very vivid memory of dancing and performing in the
Mhm.
traditions, but they don't
Mhm.
have the full grasp of what it means to be Simsian. And my daughter, who's 24, who's a firefighter right now, she wants to learn, she wants to know, which I think is fabulous.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that she wants to learn this stuff and she wants to come up and visit. She's
Mm.
down in Newport, Washington.
Wow.
So I told her, come up anytime you're ready. And I said, I'd be happy to teach you all this and give her her regalia back that she had as a little girl. And I sent her bracelet already that was made for her when she turned 5. Corey made all the kids bracelets as they got older, so that they had something to hold on to and then pass down to their family. So I sent her that along with a write up as to what it means and when she got it and why she was gifted it.
Mhm.
So I don't force tradition on my kids, but I think it's important for them to know at least what they are, where they came from, and what their clans are, and what that means.
Mm.
So I like I said, I welcome questions. I have people at work who come in my office and they're just amazed of the different things they didn't know.
Mhm, mhm.
Karen, if I
Mhm.
can just bring up, because of course,
Sure.
being friends and I'm with you, a week or so ago on your Facebook page, you were leading in creating drums, which the instruments in order to create the music. Can you talk to us a little bit about, number one, where you work, and number two, what the significance of teaching them from raw material to the end result that they're going to use this particular drum?
Yeah, I work at Metis Family Services, and I've made drums for, gosh, almost 20 years. Um, so I'm going to be teaching this group, and we have elk hides, which are actually very thick and durable over deer. They're more expensive, of course, but you saw we were cutting out the patterns.
Mhm.
And what we do is once we have the patterns, we soak it overnight in water so that they're soft and pliable. And that's when we punch the holes around it that the sinew is going to go through and attach it to the round um, form, the rim.
Mhm.
I'm going to show them the process of putting that together. And what we're doing is we're having staff make these drums, and we're going to gift them to our kids in care, kids that are in foster care, so that they can have a drum, their first drum. And once they have their first drum, we want to start teaching them how to put artwork on it and then play it and try to have lead that up to a drumming circle.
That's
So
beautiful.
we have a whole plan with what we're going to do with these kids. I'm also doing a preteen drum making class in June, and then in July I'm doing a 2-day thing of making hide rattles with preteens. And the
Wow.
reason why I'm choosing preteens is because a lot of times with programs, preteens are left out. That's the age from 9 to 13,
Mhm.
and they miss the kids stuff and they miss the youth stuff. So I'm
Mhm.
trying to focus on preteens this summer at a time when they're out of school, so we won't have a lot of conflicts.
You
And
are
I
a
think
true blessing.
I think it's important that they have all of this stuff. You know, we explain to them what they're for, what they mean. I'm also doing in July a sashing program, a ceremony for our kids in care who have not received Métis sashes. So it'll be an event that we're going to do. I'm creating the poster. I already have the elder that's going to perform the sashing event. I've reserved the space. So things slowly start to come together, and I have things planned out all the way through December for both staff and um, elders. I do family dinners. There's one on the 25th. I cook for everybody. I have 40 people signed up so far,
Wow.
and yeah.
Question for you. Can anybody come to any of these events as, like, just sit as a bystander as you watch these drums being made or the rattles being made, or the ceremony, so we can learn? Is there an opportunity for that?
Um, we usually only do it with the families we're working with.
Okay.
And I don't do pictures of the kids I'm working with because they are in
Okay.
foster care for whatever
Right.
reason. So we usually don't invite outside people. It first goes to the kids I'm working with, then it goes out to the social workers to share with their families. Um, but things like family dinners, I will throw out to Facebook if I don't think I have enough registering. But I have so many people coming without even having thrown it. I'm not advertising on Facebook because we've had a great response of families from our last one that we're not really worried about not having enough people. It's whether or not I can make that many Indian tacos because that's what I'm making that night. And I think it's very popular. So,
Wow.
um, yeah, the first time I ever made them was a year ago at Métis Family Services. And I laughed. I'm like, how come I've never had these? I've seen them all over the place. My mom would make them. I said, I actually never had one until I made them myself. And yeah, they're
Wow.
good. They're delicious.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the family events I will throw out to the public from time to time, but the youth and preteen try to keep it within our
Yeah,
organization,
that makes sense.
just
Yeah.
for the to keep to keep the kids um, to prevent them from exposure,
Right.
Yeah.
basically,
Right.
and
Yep.
it's a safe space for them.
Beautiful.
Well, it's also an opportunity for them to not worry about the outside influence and just be
Hmm.
Yeah.
with their own
Oh,
Right.
people.
I've had fun meeting with these. I was given 10 kids in care to work with, and I meet with them personally, ask them questions, what they need, what they've done in the past. And it just so happened 2 of these girls I had known from volunteering with Yosmeeth when we did an art show there.
Mhm.
And I was so excited to see these girls again. I'm like, oh my God, this is great to see you. I said, I remember you. And I said, you guys were coming to our youth nights before COVID hit, and I was getting to know them. So I was very excited to see some familiar faces of kids that were preteens when I first met them. And now they're youth.
Mhm.
So I was very excited to be able to see familiar faces again.
Yeah. Well, it's such a it's a hard thing to comprehend what a lot of these kids go through. You know, I've
Yeah.
got a couple Indigenous kids and one who was adopted by his aunt, it turned out. And he's just now, he's graduating from high school and he's just now starting to understand his identity. He's
Mhm.
never been taught. It's and his aunt is doing the same thing, or mom is doing the same thing. And they're way from Ontario, the Ojibwe people.
Yes.
So, and I was reading a book about the Ojibwe when my dad was really ill in the care home. And I think it's being open to learning new things and learning new approaches. And for those of you that don't know, there's a lot of symbolism to the rattle and a lot of symbolism and purpose for the drums that I learned all about at this conference. It was wonderful. That it's not just a drum. Whereas to many people,
yeah,
band
like,
teacher here, it's just a drum.
yeah, it's more
Right?
like a living thing because
Exactly.
it's come from a living thing,
Yeah.
and it flexes and it stretches with the heat. It
Mhm.
tightens and it loosens with the cold. So you
Yeah.
have to be very careful with your placement of your drum. You have to
Yeah.
keep it in a place where the heat's not going to fluctuate
But I
so
think the
much.
biggest thing is that, as you say, it's part of
Yes.
it's part of you.
Yes.
It belongs to you. And you are a true blessing. I mean, we're going over time, I know. Sorry, Jeanette. But
That's good.
but Karen, you are a true blessing, and to your kids and to the kids that you serve. And I am so grateful that you are out there leading and guiding and helping and educating and providing that amazing space for young people to ask questions, because that's where it's going to come from. It's not going to be from us old people. It's
Yeah.
going to come from the generation that's coming up. And
Exactly.
much gratitude to you, Karen. Much gratitude.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is the perfect time to send out some mega kindness out to the world. So Karen, if you remember before, we take our right hand, we take our left hand, we rub it together, we put some love coming right in front of our hearts. We make a heart. We're going to pump it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kindness out to the world, to everyone tonight.
Thank you so much, Karen, for joining us tonight.
Yeah, I'd be happy to come on anytime I'm available.
Oh, thank you so much.
you,
And for
Karen.
those of you watching the call tonight or the live tonight, who do you have to thank out there and be grateful for? Let them know. Let them know. So have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Great.
See you later,
Thanks.
everybody.